Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Let's Talk Automotive. This is episode 64, even though it says 63, but it's because we had a special episode to end off the year last year, that's why.
All I can say is, thank goodness you're not a mathematics teacher.
That's just what it is, you know what I'm saying? In tonight's show, we have the latest and breaking automotive news. We review the Honda NC750X, and our guest is Ewald de Beer.
And then, of course, we're going to have game time with Ewald a little bit later. And then we're going to have our section on how things work, where we're going to have a look at how to change a tire. Anyone can change a tire, even if you're a lady. And then we have meme of the week.
All right, guys, let's get this show on the road. This is Let's Talk Automotive. So is it 2022 now? I don't know. Where are we?
It's 2022. Can't wait. This is going to be an awesome year. This is where the year where we don't have to wear our masks anymore. Hopefully.
You think so?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, listen, I don't care. I'm just not going to wear my mask.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Listen, so the last time we were on air was just before Christmas last year. So we've had a couple of weeks off.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
Sure, we've been busy, eh?
Yeah.
We've been very, very busy. So thankfully, we've been both busy training. We had a little bit of a break over December, which was cool. But yeah.
And you're also moving house this week.
I'm moving tomorrow.
Yes, that's awesome.
I can't wait.
All right, guys, listen, this is an interactive show. So we're doing this live. So whoever is watching, if you're watching on Facebook or if you're watching on YouTube, wherever you're watching, please interact with us. Say how's it. Give us a thumbs up, give us a like, ask us a question, especially when it comes to talking to Ewald a bit later. He's also, he's ready for some answers, like especially hard questions. If you want to talk to a sales executive, and want to find out maybe how balloon payments work or whatever the case is, just
but please also Fritz, I don't know if you can put my WhatsApp number on the screen, but I need help during game time. So you're more than welcome to stick some answers in the comments or go on my WhatsApp and give me some help.
Okay, so are you ready to get this show on the road? Can we start this?
Yeah, let's do it.
2022.
Awesome. Let's go.
Okay, cool. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have the news of the week. Okay, so Peter, we've it's been hard, since the Formula One ended last year.
Well, not for me, because Max Verstappen won. I've had a great time.
That was after our last show. It's been amazing. It was amazing finale to the year. But I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Where is Lewis Hamilton?
He's sulking.
Is he sulking?
Yeah. I got to tell you, I think enough's enough. I saw a brilliant headline on News 24 and it said, Lewis Hamilton needs to realize tantrums are for spoilt children.
So this has just been like missing in action completely. No social media, hasn't said anything.
Nothing.
Since this, so there's a lot of speculation if he's actually going to race this year.
Well, he must make his mind up because I think he's actually being unfair to his fans. I think, there was a lot of empathy for what happened in the last race, even from us as Max Verstappen fans. But, I think he's just taking this a bit too far, and I think even his fans are getting upset. And quite frankly, Lewis, a message from me to you, if you're looking for sympathy, mate, it's in the dictionary between sex and syphilis. You need to get over it. Either decide whether you're going to race or not, but I'm done.
I don't know how that just went across. But anyway, Chelsea, thank you very much for joining us. It's nice to have you online. And she says, Verstappen all the way. So
there we go.
Lekker. All right, guys. Next story. And this is, again, we are huge racing fans. So, and we are both Marc Marquez fans.
Yeah.
So Marc Marquez had an accident just before the last race of last year.
Yep.
Off-road training, whatever the case is, had a massive bang to the head, and he had a problem with his vision.
Yep.
So he's just been cleared and he's taking part in the testing at, is it at Sepang?
Yeah,
Wherever,
yeah.
So, Peter, you're a keen biker, so you were on the track a lot.
Yep.
Imagine having blurred vision when you're going around a track.
I do, normally. I forget to put my glasses on. So I empathize with him. Yeah, not a nice injury to have. I'm very pleased he's back on the bike. Looks like he's on the pace. I think if he can sort his eyes out, I think his arm issues now sorted out. I think Marc Marquez is a contender for world champion again this year.
I really hope so, because it's been, well, let's say this, it was really interesting. You know, a lot of new winners in MotoGP. It was very entertaining.
And Honda have sorted out their bike, apparently. So
I hope so.
I think that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I'm looking forward. I can't wait. March, we're starting.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, last story in our news segment tonight is the Volvo XC40 and this is an all-electric vehicle.
Yeah, so this vehicle, by the way, sold out. The allocation for South Africa sold out within 4 days.
Holy moly.
And again, you know, Volvo's philosophy worldwide is to sell all-electric vehicles online, so this was sold all online within 4 days.
So no interaction with any dealer anywhere?
Yeah, for delivery you would have.
Yeah.
But for the rest it was handled all online. So yeah, I mean, bold steps by Volvo. Some very, very cool things about this XC40 that I just want to run through quickly if you don't mind. So first of all, just from a performance point of view, 340 kilowatts and 660 Newton meters.
Holy moly.
So we're looking at sort of AMG type of performance if you want to make a comparison. And it's obviously to all 4 wheels. 0 to 100, 4.9 seconds. A range, and you know everybody's got range anxiety, but a range of 418 kilometers, which is very fair.
More than adequate.
Battery pack has got a warranty for 8 years or 160,000 kilometers. And what's very interesting is that Volvo announced that you can have the use for free of a petrol-powered derivative for 2 weeks every year for 3 years. So that if you do want to go on a long trip, no problem, you don't have the range anxiety of the EV, you simply take one of their vehicles.
That's very interesting.
And yeah, it's also comes standard with 3 years comprehensive insurance. So I think Volvo have put together a very formidable package, and no wonder this thing sold out like that.
Okay, so I don't know if you have this prepared, but that sounds like a hell of a package.
Yeah.
But what are we paying?
It's 1.2 million.
1.2 million rand.
So
I mean, when did it happen that R1 million is just like a normal price for a car?
We've been saying this for a while now. So I mean, you got entry-level vehicles from Mercedes and BMW and Audi costing over R1 million.
Yeah.
So you know, not a bad package for an electric vehicle, which always carries a premium at this stage until government gets on board and starts to subsidize the cost of the vehicles. That's actually not a bad price.
That's it. All right, let's have a look. Christelle Clark says, hi guys, nice to see you again. Thank you very much for tuning in, Christelle. And Chelsea is watching, Nadia is watching with us. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. I think that brings up the end of our news segment, so let's get up to this week's review. Hi guys, and welcome to another review with us here at Let's Talk Automotive. I've got Brian Chen, our local bike expert, again to come and help me with the review on this Honda NC750. Should I say X?
Yes, this is
so it's an NC750X. All right, so the guys brought us this beautiful looking Honda. This has just been updated, and how long has it been on the market now? A couple of months?
Yeah, it's been a couple of months, yeah.
Yeah, and it's doing well.
It's doing extremely well. I spoke to the guys at Honda. They're selling these things as fast as they can get them. They're really a good seller.
Okay, so was this just a facelift or?
No.
A bit more?
It's a bit more than that. They've done a fair bit of updates on this. They've sharpened up the styling, of course.
Yes.
There's a lot of styling.
And it's crazy if you see the old and the new one apart or separate from each other.
Yeah.
You almost feel like I can't see the difference, but when they stand next to each other, it's actually quite a big difference.
It is quite a big difference, but most of the changes are mechanical. They've got a brand new frame on this.
Yes.
That's meant that they could redesign this parcel shelf here, which we can talk about later, but
Yes.
this is a place where you can store your helmet. This is now 1 liter bigger because of the new frame.
Yeah.
They've also lowered the seat by about 30 millimeters.
Yes.
And then that opens up a whole market for some more riders.
Yes.
People
for
that,
sure.
and then some minor changes on the engine. They've done about a 2 kilowatt update on the engine. But the important thing that they've done is they've shortened the gears on first, second, and third.
Yes.
So the bike feels a lot more punchy.
Yeah.
It is a lot of fun to ride now.
Is it fair to say that a lot of people see this bike as a little bit boring?
With reason, yeah,
Yes.
because the previous one was,
Really?
especially the 700.
Yes.
The old 700 was out and out a commuter. It was not an exciting bike at all.
Yeah.
The previous one, I had fun on it, but this one's now a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay, so is this, I think when we were at the launch, and unfortunately you missed this unbelievable story, and we'll tell you about that one day. I was at the launch on the one day and you were supposed to be there the next, and unfortunately COVID happened. But anyway, the main focus here is to take this commuter bike and actually try and get away a little bit from that stigma,
That image, or
that image,
yeah.
and say this is actually a pretty cool bike that you can do, travels with, and long distance traveling, and you can pillion on here,
Yeah.
and you can put panniers and top boxes and everything on here. So this could actually be a little mini touring bike.
Well, last year we went to Verneekpan, and that's about an 80k gravel road, and then
Yes.
onto the Pan. There was a guy with an NC750 there as well.
Yeah.
So it can perform more than just a commuter role.
Yes.
And that's what I would love to see South Africans do, is get away from cars and get on bikes, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks pretty good, Afani.
It's very, very impressive, guys. So unfortunately, we're not going to show you the whole review right now, but it's available in 3 minutes on the YouTube channel. And there's a guy sitting there. So this brings us to guest of the week.
Thank you, guys.
Ewald de Beer. Ewald, thank you very much for joining us. Ewald de Beer is joining us in studio tonight. Ewald is one of, if not the best Nissan sales executive in the country at the moment. So we thought that we would do something a little bit different. And, we've always spoken to the consumers out there from the consumer's point of view, and we thought, why not bring in a sales executive?
And not just any sales
not
exec,
one
an
of the best.
expert sales exec.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for joining us, Ewald. And just obviously to the viewers, this is your opportunity to now try and find out how it really works in terms of sales executives. Yeah, so go.
Thank you very much, Al. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here on your show. We watch it every episode, so thank you very much. We
Lekker,
appreciate
man.
it.
So, Ewald, let's start with a normal place to start. Give us a little bit of background with regards to your background. Where did you start out, and how did you end up in the motor industry?
Well, after school, I started studying pastoral theology.
Okay.
I met my wife, and things led to one another. We wanted to get married, and I got an opportunity to start at Hyundai.
Okay.
I started in 2012 at Hyundai, was there for a year, went to Toyota, worked at Toyota till 2015.
Okay.
And in December 2015, moved to Nissan. At
That's-
first,
that's-
very
that's-
scared. But
Yeah, that's quite a big
but-
change to go from
Yeah.
Toyota to Nissan. Why that change?
Well, I think one of the big decisions was I didn't want to do used cars anymore.
Okay.
I wanted to focus on fleet and new business, new vehicle business. And secondly, when Andre and them from BB Sinoville started talking to me, I realized that our teamwork and the culture that they were at, I did not have at Toyota.
Yeah.
And I'm a culture person, I'm a relationship person, and
Yep.
when you're happy at your work, you're happy in your personal
Yeah, for
life,
sure.
and you're happy in your family life, and that's important. I mean, we work long hours, and if we enjoy working with each other, it's all the better.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, the motor industry is not a normal career choice for people. You must have had somebody that influenced you, that's perhaps still a mentor today to you.
Well, at heart an entrepreneur. I love challenges, and I love looking at businesses and growing in businesses, and I also love relationships. I think what the automotive industry gave me and where I started was the fact that there's new people walking in every single day. I love working with people. I love seeing the excited faces of a new delivery, and it was something that immediately, it's ambition that grabbed. It's something that grabbed me, and I enjoyed it from thoroughly.
You mentioned that you are currently situated at BB Sinoville Nissan. That's right. And Andre and Renee, the dealer principal there, they've got a special thing going there, right?
Definitely. I think the culture there is very healthy. Which is not always in dealerships.
Yeah, for sure.
We go to training a lot, and when we see other salesmen, you immediately see a positive or a negative. A salesman will walk up to you and say, it's been a tough month, or it's been a tough year, or it's the Nissan brand, or it's the Toyota brand, or it's the Ford brand, or whatever the brand they are working with. But if you are positive, and that's what Andre, especially Andre and Renee, has cultivated at BB Sinoville, it's a positive mindset.
Yeah.
It's a mindset where we can literally sit and we can talk. We have a relationship with each other. It's not a manager that bashes you.
Sure.
And I think that makes the difference.
Sure.
I'm going to ask a hard question. I mean, the motor industry, and this is one of my passion points, is I'm trying to convince people out there that it's not all doom and gloom. You know, we're not bad people, but we've got this terrible reputation. What do you think it is?
Well, I think in all kind of sales, I think some salesmen might split the relationship from the sale. The moment you do that, your client becomes a number. And clients picks up on that. They pick up on it. They immediately feel that this guy does not remember my name. He does not know who I am. And it's just a day-to-day thing. And I think when you become used to the fact that you split your relationship with your clients with what your client really needs, then you don't care anymore. And then you'll start getting not listening what the client says, not doing what the client says, not really listening at heart what his needs is. The moment you don't listen to the need of a client, you lost. And then you'll start, and then obviously you get your salesmen that just does not care. They will overcharge on everything that they want to overcharge, because at 5 o'clock when they knock off, they want the deal, but they don't care about the client, and that client will never come back.
Sure.
So Nadia has just asked a question and said, I wonder how many units Ewald has sold up to date. I mean, that may be a difficult number to come up with now, but what is your best month that you've had in terms of units?
My best month was last year. I did 24 units.
Wow.
It was a hectic month. It was a month.
Who did all the admin?
Don't talk about admin. I think when Andre listens to this, he's gonna him and my stock controller. I think I'm giving them grey hairs. I don't think there's one good salesman that has a good admin.
Exactly. Absolutely.
No, for sure.
It's difficult, eh? The admin. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that customers don't realize. So maybe why don't we talk about what happens behind the scenes?
Yeah.
So first of all, to have a month where you sold 24 units in a month with Nissan, which is not like a right at the top volume type of brand, you know what I'm saying? So you sold a hell of a lot of cars in one month.
And heavy metal cars as well. So it's not entry level.
Yeah. So what's behind the scenes when it comes to admin?
Well, what I said to Andre a few years ago, and it's really true, is when you're a salesman, you're actually a event coordinator. You start the moment the client phones and the moment that you find out the needs, you start coordinating an event. Now that event is the delivery. So obviously there's finance to be arranged, there's needs to be analyzed. You have to find out does this client need a, let's say, MP200 with an aircon, without an aircon. What's the extras that the client needs? Will it be for a fleet company? Will it be for a personal use? So there's a lot of questions that actually, you start with questions. From there on, you do your finance. You start negotiating with the banks, where we have Yolandi, and the F&I team is absolutely brilliant. They are phenomenal when it comes to that. So they help us a lot. Then at that point in stage, you give it over to the finance and insurance managers. They do their stuff. When it comes back, then your work actually starts. Then the event planning starts. You have to get all your canopies in a row. You have to get radios in a row. You have to get everything planned for that event where that client wants. The biggest thing for that client is the excitement of the delivery.
Yep.
Yes.
And you have to be in time. You have to do all of that. So there's obviously a lot of admin. There's obviously a lot of filing to be done, which I absolutely love. But yeah, there's a lot behind the scenes that people do not know.
Awesome. Well, Chelsea says that she likes that event analogy. So I absolutely agree. It's always been said that apart from your house, buying your car is probably the second most important or biggest purchase that you'll ever make in your life.
Yeah.
And yes, making it very special for the guys. There must be some sort of secret though, Ewald, because we teach and train in the automotive industry, and there's very few and far between very successful sales executives out there. So what do you think is that
pearl of wisdom?
Yeah, the pearl of wisdom, or what's the reason? Is there a mind switch, or is there a different approach to 99% of the guys out there?
I think from the beginning, if you respect your client, he'll talk to you. And my father taught me from a very young age that you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So if you listen to your client and you actually respect your client, he's going to tell you exactly what he wants.
Yes.
You just follow what he wants. You must remember what he says. You must remember what he wants. And if you can analyze exactly, at the beginning, just listen. Later on, you'll start analyzing your clients. You'll start realizing that this client actually wants this. This is the specific client that wants a patrol, but he wants it in an off-road manner, or he wants the quickest car in South Africa, or whatever the case may be. So listen to your clients.
Okay, so Fritz has just whispered in my ear, we've got something special planned for you now that we didn't even know about. So we've got a couple of quick fire questions, and you just need to choose either A or B. Okay. How's about that?
Thank you, Fritz.
So fishing or hunting?
Hunting.
Hunting. Okay. Yes. Double cab or single cab? Double cab. Cocktail or beer?
Cocktail.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because I don't drink beer. So I'll drink anything but
Just say again, Fritz. Oh, Lulup or Wys met jou lemoene?
Wys met jou lemoene. Sorry, love.
Okay, Ferrari or
Ford F250.
Ford F250.
I would love to drive a Ferrari one day, but not for a long time, so I would say F150.
Okay. Candlelight dinner or boere opskop?
Sorry, say again. First
Candlelight dinner or a boere opskop?
Boere opskop. If I can sock you with my Wi-Fi.
Okay.
We need to really test this.
So here's one. Blonde or brunette?
Brunette.
Brunette? Okay. So
what's your wife?
Is white.
Brunette. I'm not stupid.
Speedo or wetsuit?
Speedo.
Speedo?
Wow.
Oh. I see
I'm
that
going to Mauritius, so I have to get the Speedo ready.
There's a fitness thing going on.
My wife's a personal trainer. So.
I see. Listen,
we need to really test the relationship here.
Yes.
Bulls or sharks?
Bulls.
Okay, Fritz,
let's cut this. Can you
Bulls all the way.
Zoom in on this part of the show so that we just get this bull support off here. Okay, let's see what's happening online here. There's Nicholas Alfred Joseph. Cool show. Thanks, guys. Love your shows, especially the reviews. Thank you very much, Nicholas. Appreciate your input. Okay, so something very, very strange happened to all of us in the last 2 years. And we've really focused on COVID and the pandemic from a consumer's point of view.
Yeah.
But I would really, really like to hear your thoughts and maybe just give us a little bit of insight into how that affected the industry from your perspective.
So obviously, not just COVID hit us, but also the semiconductor chips.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of people think COVID is the massive hit, but the stock shortage hurt a lot more people than actually COVID did.
Yes.
COVID was an eye opener for a lot of people. You either had to graft or you had to fall off the wagon.
Yes.
Your order takers completely fell off. Your order takers, the guys that just, you walk in, they give you discounts and you'll walk out and you never remember their name, you never remember where
you had to really work for your
Exactly.
deals. Eh?
They fell off. And the guys that really built rapport with their clients, the guys that really worked hard, that has a relationship, a lasting relationship where a client comes and buys 5, 6, 7, 8 vehicles in 10 years, that's the guys that make it.
Okay.
COVID was hard. COVID was a difficult pill to swallow, but we managed it. I can tell you, my business, my sector doubled after COVID.
I mean, I think respectfully, it was, there were hard times from a business point of view, and we're just focusing on the business part of things. But I think to a large extent, it also was a good purge. It got rid of the people that were hurting our precious industry, I think.
Definitely.
And I think that, like with milk, when you shake it, cream rises to the top. And I think that's what COVID taught a lot of us. It gave people the ability to learn how to do proper deals and build proper deals and respect relationships, like you've been talking about. And I think actually a lot of a lot of the answers you've given, I think really indicates that you are that relationship person.
Definitely, yeah.
So one of the interesting things, and I didn't even tell you this, Pete. So Ewald's got my cell phone number because we worked for the same company back in the day. So he's got my cell phone number, and something very interesting that this oak does is that he preempts, new models that's coming and getting orders and whatever the case is. But let's just go back to Navara at the moment, because that's probably one of your best-selling vehicles at the moment. And then we're going to talk about some new stuff coming up. So Fritz has got some pictures of this new Navara, and that's the Pro 4X, though. So that's the top of the line. Yes. So how's that been doing for you guys at Nissan?
Absolutely brilliant. I think on piggybacking on what the D23 was, it did very well, but the pricing was a little bit stiff. There was stuff that Nissan had to work on. But I think what Nissan did right, first of all, is they listened to the consumer. They actually went and they listened to what their consumer wanted. The consumer didn't want the 2.3 at this point. They did want some features that wasn't as important, and they did want features that was important. So Nissan listened to their clients, and the pricing is excellent.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it actually surprised us when we came and did the review on the Navara. That was one of the key things that stood out.
I think it's one of the first cars that we both gave 10 out of 10.
Yeah, and for us, at the moment, currently, it's definitely the best bakkie on the market.
Yeah, and something like you just said, that Nissan listened to their customers. The suspension upgrade on the new model is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think Nissan, with the dual-core suspension that they did at the back, it gave you the best of both worlds. Where the previous one was a little bit, at the moment they had a load, payload, it would bottom out a little bit. But with the new one and the changes they made, they actually nailed the coffin.
Okay, so now there's two new models that sort of caught my attention and that you've sent through to us, and the first is the Nissan Qashqai. There's a new Nissan Qashqai coming out, and we've got a picture of that. It's interesting. It looks like what we would expect, but there is quite a significant change to that.
Definitely. I think the new Qashqai is going to turn ahead. There's a first, a lot of firsts at the new Qashqai that I cannot disclose at the moment, but there is a few surprises, especially if you like the gadgets.
Yes.
There's a few gadgets that's going to be first on the new Qashqai, and I think we're going to be excited to launch it very soon.
I've got a question before you dive in there. So that Qashqai, the headlights, the design of the headlights actually remind me a lot of an electric vehicle. So what electric vehicles are starting to look like. Now, I mean, Nissan was a pioneer in terms of bringing out the Leaf into South Africa, the first electric vehicle. What is Nissan, or what are Nissan's plans in terms of more electric vehicles?
Well, there's two vehicles that Nissan is that I'm seeing in Nissan's global, can I say, lineup that's coming up. I do not know if the Aria is going to come to South Africa, but that's going to be one of the big Nissan features globally. Where the Qashqai also will come in an electric derivative. If it's going to be launched in South Africa, I cannot confirm. Sure. I think we might be a little bit behind where your European countries currently are situated. But it is I think if they bring the Qashqai in the electric vehicle, there's going to be definitely a market, and I can confirm there is clients that literally are waiting for electric.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we spoke about the Volvo XC40 P8. They sold those cars out in 4 days. So there clearly is an appetite in South Africa for electric vehicles. So it'll be very interesting to see what Nissan does there.
Yeah, I think that's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Okay, so back in the day we had the Nissan Navara, and then we had the Pathfinder, the SUV version of that. So is there something new coming now that we have the new Navara?
Yeah, the Nissan is launching the Terra. We're not 100% sure about the time frame.
Okay. I think there's the picture there.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
The time frame is not 100% confirmed yet, but I think it's going to be a real item. It's going to be something in a market that we have not had in a while, and I really do hope that it's going to do well. We think it's going to really change some of your Fortuner and your Everest guys that really does not really want another Fortuner or Everest. They want something different. Or your clients that has extra that maybe wants to
upgrade
move up a little bit.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Well, I think, Jock Tesla says, hi, Ewald, goed om je daar te zien. So you obviously know Jock. Yeah, Jock, thank you very much for joining us. I think we've come to that time of the show where we're going to have some fun now.
Oh.
Okay, and what we did is, and this is where you guys definitely can get involved. So everybody that's watching, whether you're online on Facebook or on YouTube, please play along. We have a little game called Guess the Car. It's game time. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you a partial picture of a car, and then you have to guess the car. So best out of 7 wins. Okay, Ewald? And the rules are very simple. So you have to shout your name. I'll come to you and I'll give you the opportunity to give me the answer.
The rules are really simple. You win, I lose.
All right, so we're going to do a little test here. So what do you have up your sleeve there, Fritz? Okay, so so we've just come back, or not just come back. That was actually in October last year. We did a trip down in the Kalahari, and Nissan South Africa was gracious enough to give us that LE model, and I can tell you that vehicle went through a hell of a lot of tests and came through all the way. Amazing
it's a good
vehicle.
testimony to have.
All right, so are you guys ready? Who's Jean-Marie de Beer? She says, go Papa. Okay, let's go. She's ready to watch and play along. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is game time. Explain the rules. You have to shout your name if you recognize the car. We're going to show the picture up here in the studio to the guys here. You guys at home will be able to see. You guys at home will be able to see the picture as the stream comes through. If you recognize the car, write down your answer in the comments below. The theme for tonight, seeing that he works for Nissan, is Japanese vehicles. How's about that?
Sounds good.
Yeah, maybe it'll make it a little bit easier for me.
It's not so difficult. All right. Everybody ready? Here comes the first one.
Mazda.
Oh, well, you must shout your name.
Ewald, Mazda.
Ewald, what is that?
Mazda.
You've got half a point so far?
What is that? MX-3. MX-5.
5, yes, well done, well done. That's the MX-5.
Boy. Interesting vehicle that, because the Fiat 128 and the MX-5 are exactly the same vehicle. I don't know if you know that.
Chelsea got that right. Well done, Chelsea. And Marius Lange got it right. Marius, well, thank you very much for joining us. Tace Erasmus is watching. Thank you very much. Mazda 7. So unfortunately, Tace, that was not right. Nicholas Alfred Joseph got Mazda MX-5. Well done, you guys are on the ball. Okay, are you guys ready for the second one? Here's number 2. This is tough, guys.
Wow, Peter. I'm gonna say that's a Nissan.
No.
It looks like a Toy lady, eh?
I'm gonna deduct points. I'm gonna deduct points from you. -1 now.
Because you said Japanese, I was thinking Jaguar, but
wow.
Yes, it's very, very Jaguar-ish. But unfortunately not Jaguar. Let's see what the guys at home thinks.
Sure. Somebody's saying Toyota.
Ooh, Marius. Well, Marius.
A Toyota 2000 GT, Peter.
Oh. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. You can't. I'm going to give that point to Marius. Well done, Marius.
Well done.
You get the point for Toyota
Wow.
2000 GT.
That looks very much like a Jaguar
E-Type, eh?
It does,
Amazing.
eh?
Wow.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Well, I would never have got that in 100 years.
Same here.
You can have the point.
Brian Chain is watching with us. He says that's a Toyota. Well done. I'm going to give you half a point for that. Chelsea got, she says 300 GT. Well, close. I'm going to give that. I'm going to give you half a point, Chelsea. Thanks for watching. Okay. The guys at home are on fire tonight.
Man.
Well, okay. Here's number 3.
Peter.
Oh,
That's definitely that's a Nissan GTR.
I'm so
32.
disappointed. Ewald, it's a Nissan. It's a Nissan. Well done,
I
Peter.
was going to scream out, but I forgot my name.
You forgot your name. All right. Let's see what the guys at home. There's a little bit of a delay. Yes, Brian. Brian's got GTR. Well done. Let's see what the guys at home are saying.
Yeah, Chelsea as well.
Yes, Chelsea. Well done. Oh, she even says
Marius
R30.
Lange, R34.
R34. It's no, they're Nissans, eh? Okay, so what we have at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, is a tie at 1 each.
And this is where Barney gets very nervous. And where Fritz threatens to cut my microphone.
Yes. Okay, so everybody ready? And here is number 4.
Ewald.
Talk to me, Ewald.
Impreza.
Yes, absolutely correct.
STI.
Suzuki.
Subaru.
Sorry,
That's minus.
Subaru.
Should I deduct
My
points now?
fault. No, my fault.
No, Subaru, Suzuki, I hear what you say. Let's see what the guys at home. The guys at home, WRX, yeah, Brian.
Yeah. Jerome.
Subaru, Jerome's got it right.
Chelsea got it right. Marius.
Ooh, Scooby. Marius has got a bit of the slang going, eh? The Scooby, yeah. Okay, so what we have now is 2-1 to Ewald at the moment with 3 to go. Here is number 5.
Oh, Ewald.
Ewald, talk to me. What is that?
Mitsubishi Lancer.
Well done.
Absolutely correct.
It's so close between that and the Subaru.
It's very, very, very close.
I've got a great
spotted.
story about that car when I was national sales manager of Mitsubishi. But that's for another day. And it involved destroying a clutch that the Japanese and my Japanese counterparts never knew.
I think that's where Mitsubishi makes a lot of their after sales, is the clutches.
Oh, nasty.
Marius has got Evo, Jerome's got Mitsubishi, Chelsea's got it right. Well done, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. It's so lacquer when you guys are playing along. Okay, so it's 3-1 at the moment, so you can still tie this up if you really, really, you know what I'm saying. So this next one is quite difficult because I'm not 100% sure. Here in South Africa, it's quite different to the rest of the world. Let's see what you guys say. Here's number 6.
Peter.
Really?
Yeah, that must be a Honda NS6.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
So also Acura in some parts of the world. Very weird, but anyway, that's a Honda.
Is that not the vehicle that Max Verstappen also drove?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay,
Are you a Max Verstappen fan, by the way?
Big Max Verstappen.
Oh, there you go.
Why do you dislike Hamilton?
I cannot say that on
Oh, shame. Sorry, Michael. There's a lot
one of our guys in the studio is a huge Hamilton fan. So.
Yes, everybody on. The guys are on fire tonight. Jean-Marie's got Honda, Chelsea's got Honda, Marius. The Oaks are on fire. Peter, so you've got a chance. 3-2. You've got a chance to tie it up, or it could be all over like it should be. Here is number 7.
Peter.
Oh, Supra.
No, but now what? What must I do now? Peter said his name and you said the car. Now what now?
We said it together.
Oh, Fritz is in my ear. He says Ewald definitely said his name before Peter said his name. So Ewald, I'm coming to you. What is that?
Supra.
Absolutely, Toyota Supra. So
There's
unfortunately,
only
that's
one thing that has that scoop.
43.
That's a Subaru
I tell
and a
you,
Supra.
if only people realized how this game was rigged.
Jerome's got it right. Chelsea's got it right.
all
Marius has got it right. The Oaks were on fire at home. Listen, thank you very much for joining us, guys. That was so lucky to...
Isn't there one more? Isn't there a tiebreaker?
No. Do you want a tiebreaker?
Out of 7, isn't it?
No, it's out of 7.
I can't win in any case.
We've done it. It's over.
Well done.
Unfortunately. So Ewald, thank you so much for joining us. It was so lucky to have a chat and get the perspective from the sales side. We've always sort of focused on, you know.
And I want to say something as well. I just want to say thank you, because it's guys like you that give the industry a great name, and we need more of you.
Thank you
keep
very
it up,
much.
and we hope you have massive success going
Thanks,
forward.
Peter. Thanks, Fonny. Thanks for having me.
So Fritz has got a question for you. If there's one thing that you could sort of say to the consumer out there from the sales perspective, what would that be?
I think trust the process. I think trust the salesman, stop shopping around, talk to the salesman, tell him, listen, this is actually what I need. Is there any way that you can maybe give a discount or something else that I actually need, instead of shopping around? I think that discredits us, and it frustrates us.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a guy, we work from 7 to 6.
Yeah.
I mean, we're sitting there all day, and we have a certain excitement when we have a client, and you have a certain rapport, and you trust your client as well. Every morning you sit in a management meeting or in a sales meeting, and you say, "Sir, this one we can count on." And sometimes it falls off because of people shopping around. So I would rather say trust your salesman, talk to him, be open, and communicate with your salesman. I think you'll get the best deal anyway.
Sure,
Love it.
Appreciate it. And the after-sales service is more important than saving that 10,000 Rand on the deal.
Exactly.
For sure. All right, awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. Okay, Peter, so we're going to do a little bit different how things work this week.
Yeah.
What did we talk about?
Well, you know, we had obviously a call last year to focus on maybe some of the things more applicable to the ladies.
Yes.
And one of the things that has always stood out for me is it's dangerous to have a flat tire on a road in South Africa. Let's teach everybody how to change a tire effectively.
Something so simple, but yet so important. This is proudly brought to you by Suzuki Auto South Africa.
Welcome to this week's episode of How Things Work on Let's Talk Automotive. And in today's episode, what we're going to do is we're going to actually take some advice that we got from one of our viewers last year when we threw it out to ask viewers what they wanted to see on How Things Work. And Emma Renscher Geldenhuys gave us a fantastic suggestion and said, why don't you tell us things that would be pertinent to ladies? And so we're going to do exactly that today. And we're going to start off with our first episode on things that are practical for ladies, and that's going to be how to change a tire. So we've got Leandra with us today. So welcome, Leandra.
Gonna get my hands dirty.
Gonna get your hands dirty, and we're going to put you to the test, and we're going to show you the right way to change a tire.
Okay.
So first things first is I want you to try and undo one of the wheel nuts.
Okay.
Okay, so you know that it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
all right, so lefty-loosey and... all right,
No.
so quite difficult. Okay,
Yes.
all right, so one of the suggestions that we've got for you is if you do find yourself in a situation where you really can't undo the wheel nuts, I've got a little tip for you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put the wheel spanner in that position, so it's going to undo it, and then what I want you to do very carefully, while still bracing yourself on the vehicle, start putting your weight onto that wheel spanner.
Okay.
And let's see if you can undo it now.
Oh my word.
Remember to support yourself on the car so that you don't slip off
Yeah.
when that thing loosens up. Now you can jump on it. There we go. Now you've undone that particular wheel nut. Okay, so well done. You've managed to loosen up the wheel nut. And of course we can loosen up all the wheel nuts. But remember, that you loosen the wheel nuts before you jack up the vehicle, because otherwise when the wheel's up in the air, it's going to start turning the wheel, especially if it's the front or if you've got a very weak handbrake.
Okay.
So we normally just unnip all the wheel nuts just slightly. We don't take them off the vehicle just yet. We just nip them so that they're nice and loose before we jack up the vehicle. All right. Now, the second thing is that we're going to be getting on our knees, and this is a nice rough surface.
Yeah.
If you're on the side of the road, you might find that there's little rocks and little stones. It's going to hurt your knees, and we potentially could be on dirt and sand and we're going to get dirty. So here's a little trick that I always show people, and that is, before you start working on replacing anything, we can use cover in our boot,
Oh, that's very clever.
and we can now lean on that,
Yeah,
and now we don't hurt our knees and we keep ourselves clean.
very clever. Pete.
All right, second thing is we need to be very sure about where we jack up the vehicle,
Okay.
because there's only 2 brace points on the rear and the front that are strong enough to cope with the weight of the vehicle.
Okay.
All right, so we've got the scissor jack, as this is called, and if we look under the vehicle over here, and Fani will come and show this separately, the 2 ways that we can identify the jacking points. The first is that there is a little arrow that's imprinted on this rocker plate over here, or you can, if you have a look, see that it is a very strong point that stands proud from the rest of that rocker, and we're going to simply slide our jack into that position, and just by hand we can wind it up, make sure it seats nicely. Now there's 2 other things that we're going to do which we would recommend that you do, which we're not going to do now.
Okay.
But if your vehicle is on a bit of a slope,
Yeah.
make sure that your handbrake is on tight, your vehicle is in first gear. If possible, try find a rock or a brick or something that can act as a wheel chock that you can put behind the wheel to
Yes.
stop the wheel from rolling. Because as soon as we pick up this vehicle, we're going to change the angle and it might roll away from us. Okay, right, now we're going to jack this up. So obviously we have quite a neat little trick that we can do here with our wheel spanner. So we take this, put it through here, and we can now use it to simply jack up the vehicle. Right, now we don't have to go too high off the ground. So as soon as there's a little bit of clearance, like we can see on that tire there, we can stop jacking up. And the reason for that is that if you have a very heavy tire, so if you've got a very big car and a very heavy tire, you don't want to have to do too much lifting to try and put that tire into its position. All right, so now we've jacked up the tire, we've loosened the wheel nuts, we can start taking everything off. Now what you might find is that if a tire or a wheel has been on its wheel hub for a long time, that it's sticky and very difficult to get off. So if you do find yourself in that situation, it's quite weird because it feels like you haven't taken the nuts off.
Yeah.
What you can do, I'm not going to do it too hard on this, is you stand with your back to the vehicle and you give the wheel a good kick, but backwards. So on the tire itself, you give it a nice sharp kick, and that'll loosen up the wheel enough that it will physically come off. Okay. This one's nice and loose. Okay, so we can take this away. And now what I'm going to show you is, again, we're lucky with the Suzuki. We've got a very nice light mini spare. You might find yourself in a situation where you've got a very heavy tire and it's difficult for you to lift up this tire. So what you can do is you can use your legs as a scissor lift, because we've got a lot of strength in those legs. So what we do is we put the tire on our legs and we can lift up
Lift it up, yeah.
the tire like that. But in this case it's nice and light, so we can put our tire on nice and easily, and we can now put on the wheel nuts. Alright, now when we put the wheel nuts on, there is a specific order in which we need to tighten them up. So, common mistake that people make when they're tightening up their wheel nuts is that they tighten them up in order. If you do that, what happens is that the actual rim doesn't seat properly, and as you tighten one nut up, it loosens up the other. So we've got to tighten our nuts up in opposite order. So let's just quickly nip these up quickly. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right, so if I tighten this one up tight, the very next one I do is the one opposite it. Can you see I've moved the rim there? Okay. Alright, so now I tighten that up. Then I tighten this one. and now do the opposite one. You see I've moved the
Yes, I did.
wheel there. So that's what's happening. So we tighten the opposite one up. Okay. And we keep doing that. So we do the opposite. Right. So that's tight enough for us to now drop the vehicle down. Let's give you a turn at now reducing or dropping the vehicle down. So lefty loosey. So we're going to go.
My word.
That's it. Alright, so you can cup your hand like that. Okay, perfect. And you should be able to slide that out just by hand. Maybe loosen it up a bit more. Lefty loosey. Alright, you can pull that out now. And now it's time to tighten up the wheel nuts.
Okay.
Alright, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to make the following suggestion. One of the mistakes that we make is we over tighten our wheel nuts. Now remember, the wheel nuts, the thread itself will stretch if we over tighten it, and then we damage it and we run the danger that the wheels fall off at a later stage. Okay, so what I want you to do is let's put the wheel spanner on in the correct position so that we're going to be tightening it, and all I want you to do is push down with your upper body weight as hard as you can and no more. Okay, that's it. Right, now we go to the opposite nut.
It's this one.
Yeah. Put it in place, push down as hard as you can. That's it. Now you go to the other nut. That's it, push down as hard as you can. And then the last one. And that's enough. Okay, that is tight enough, it's safe, those nuts are not going to come off, and you're good to go after we've packed up. Right.
Okay.
One last thing to remember, please, is that the probability is excellent that when we've changed the wheel, our wheel hub is still hot, and so are the studs and the nuts. They're warm, which means they've expanded,
Yeah.
which means that when we park the car tonight and everything cools down, everything's going to contract and these are going to loosen up a little bit.
Yeah, so you must tighten it the next morning.
So the next morning, just make sure you go back to your car and just nip those nuts again,
Okay.
and everything's good.
Thank you, Pete.
That's a great pleasure. Okay, so there you see it. A couple of things to check, obviously, is to make sure, first of all, especially if you've bought your vehicle second-hand, that this is the correct spare wheel, that it fits on, that you've got your jack, that you've got your spanner, and you're good to go if you break down on the side of the road. So we hope you found that useful, and you can see that it's actually not too bad to
No,
change your
it's
tire
not
at the end of the
bad.
day if you do it the right way. And we look forward to seeing you on future episodes of How Things Work.
Peter, I know that it's something very simple, but there's a lot of very nice little golden nuggets in there that even for a guy,
Absolutely.
you know, even for a guy. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it.
It's a great pleasure.
So Mario says, when will Suzuki and Nissan have a partnership like Navara, Equator, or Alto, Pixo? Marius, I don't think that's ever going to happen because there's this relationship that we've seen now over the last couple of months with Suzuki and Toyota.
Yeah, and that relationship is going from strengths to strengths. I think it's an awesome thing for Suzuki. You can imagine the largest motor manufacturer in the world chooses Suzuki as its partner. I think that speaks volumes. So yeah, I think that we are closer to seeing a Suzuki Hilux than we are perhaps a Navara.
Listen, that brings us to the end of the first show for 2022. It was a flippin' lekker show.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So, as always, we're just going to have some little, have a laugh with us. Some of the interesting stuff that we see online, funny stuff. So, this is fun time. Okay, so the first meme that we saw online, let's put that up on the screen and then we'll have a little laugh. Oh, that's all we need. Freaking tires are also infected.
Oh my goodness.
That's the Omicron variant tire.
Oh my goodness, is that the third or the fourth wave?
No, it's probably like seventh wave. All right, let's move on. The next one, give it a few wobbles to make sure it's a neutral.
You know what, I'm absolutely guilty of that, I must say.
We do that, eh?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, and the last one tonight, let's have a laugh. when your wrench slips and you smash the out of your fingers and now you need some time alone. That, Marius Lange, has that ever happened to you?
Actually, you know what? That looks a bit like Marius.
All right, guys, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for joining us. It was lekker to be here. Next week, we've got some flippin' interesting stuff going. We are actually going live from Motel, South Africa next week.
Can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
Awesome. Guys, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you again next week. Same time, same place. Have a wonderful time.
Cheers, everyone.